Are House Republicans trying to deliberately damage the US economy? Time again for the House to needlessly threaten a hypothetical default and hold the global economy to ransom as the debt ceiling limit deadline looms on the 1st of June. Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, representative for California's 20th Congressional District's bill, would cut discretionary programs by $3.6 trillion over the next decade. Discretionary programs are the part of the budget that covers programs like defence, veterans healthcare, childcare and preschool, medical research and public health, food and drug safety inspectors, Pell Grants and college work study, K-12 education, environmental protection, housing and some transportation programs. I could go on. By putting forward this cuts as far as I can see bill, but not a full budget, Speaker McCarthy is holding back the House Republicans' brutal full fiscal agenda. They've already made clear that they intend to make all of the expiring 2017 Trump tax cuts permanent, including those that benefit very wealthy households at a cost of $300 billion a year, without any effort to raise revenues to pay for them. This would erase most of the bill's claimed fiscal savings, at the expense of investments that promote broader opportunity for Americans, cutting programs that have been consistently proven to drive economic growth. It's almost like he has an ulterior motive. The Centre on Budget and Policy Priorities reported McCarthy's Limit Save Grow Act, also known as the 99% of America Go Fuck Yourself Act, will leave many veterans, families and the elderly homeless, hungry and unable to access healthcare or college, eliminating tens of thousands of teachers and hundreds of thousands of Head Start and childcare slots, increasing interest on credit cards, car payments and mortgages, while preventing any student loan relief. Scale back tax incentives for green energy, make it easier for oil and gas companies to pollute, and it'll make it easier for rich folk to cheat on their taxes. Or in other words, everything Mitch McConnell wishes for when he throws a quarter down a wishing well. Speaker McCarthy and the Republicans in both the House and Senate voted 3 times under Trump to raise the debt ceiling, and even suspended it, in order to rack up nearly $8 trillion in debt, including about $2 trillion for tax cuts to the wealthy and big corporations. President Biden, by contrast, reduced the annual deficit in 2022, and his 10-year budget plan for the next fiscal year would lower the national debt by $3 trillion, while more robustly funding the programs the majority of ordinary Americans rely on. This is because, unlike the GOP plan, he includes revenues from fair taxation for the nation's wealthiest, not hitting tax on your income, but the 1%, whose multi-trillion-dollar free cash giveaway under Trump makes porn star hush money and $5 million for sexual assault damages looks a small fry as a George Santos scam. I get the best scams, nobody can touch my scams. The Republicans know the bill will never pass the Democrat majority in the Senate. It's B-grade political theatre, damaging US domestic and international interests for little to no political gain. House Republicans must be higher than a rogue pharma rep with a truck full of free samples to want to cut Medicaid. Now even Trump is willing to risk his free supply of uppers. Despite making every effort to cut Medicaid during his time as president, he attacked fellow Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley, his former United Nations ambassador, for her previous support of cutting Medicaid and Social Security earlier this year. Why? Because it's electoral madness to attack working American voters. Even too mad for Donald, who ran the Oval Office like a xenophobic, methed-up Joan Rivers. Is it any wonder, though, when the GOP House team is made up of the likes of Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is about as an appropriate candidate for involvement in the matters of state as Matt Gaetz would be as principal of an all-girls high school, led by McCarthy, whose ability to stand upright despite having entirely no backbone has drawn attention from a number of world-leading marine biologists who have formerly specialised in the anatomy of jellyfish. America is meant to be the country where anyone with an idea and work ethic can make it. For that, you need to provide a safety net, because otherwise, if your next aspiring Bill Gates or Warren Buffett's parents don't have health coverage, or if Bezos Jr. has a pre-existing condition, or Musk Jr.'s school loses half their science teachers due to budget cuts, they're going to be stuck in poverty at the start line. And you just robbed your country and the world of the next great American, or South African, Canadian, American Martian in Elon's case. You should be trying to build a stable system. We're all trying to remind the world right now why democracy was created in the first place, because eventually autocratic systems get a tyrant in charge who fucks up everybody in the world's bank balance, including yours, you lobbyist rich greedy fucks. Instead, you're at war with the average American worker. You're the richest country in the history of the world, but 3 people in the US are richer than the top 50%. 60% live paycheck to paycheck. 85 million are uninsured. 45 million people are in student debt. CEOs make 440 times the average worker, while Bezos just purchased a $75 million super yacht with a helipad to trail his $500 million super yacht. Presumably it has no helipad. While he opposes Amazon workers unionising to get a fair rate of pay and better working conditions. Then there's the potential economic damage of even threatening default. Never mind the logically impossible actual default. US Treasuries are regarded as the most stable bond in the global market. It's not just other countries, they're bought by investors all around the world, which are issued by the Fed by law to mirror any government budget deficit, and can also be bought back and written off by the Fed, by the way. Interestingly, in the UK, we have no debt ceiling limit, meaning no regular standoffs threatening to bring down the whole system. And that's despite running essentially the exact same system as the US. And we've got a king and universal healthcare to pay for too. For 80 years we've been the most stable market and currency in the world. And at a time when authoritarian governments are attempting to undermine the dollar-led global economic system, and instead start paying for stuff with bricks, it shows complete disregard for the future of the US and the wider world. The House GOP show a bizarre lack of duty as US elected officials. And don't forget, there's elections on the horizon in 2024.
Unfortunately or fortunately.
Coming up on Cracks, Ron DeSantis bans Disney's Winnie the Pooh after confusing Jim Much-Loved Bear with a sex act. The NRA win their battle to keep AR-15s on sale in Toys R Us. Freedom-loving Republicans declare martial law in your womb. And we speak to President Donald Trump about woke Marxist culture destroying a celebrity's right to sexually assault women.